Let me double check my audio. There we go. Greetings, humans. Hello. Um, Welcome to another Tuesday update. So I've started doing these Tuesday updates opposite my Hackster Cafe episodes because I'm real bad at promotion. I mean, because I like to share more things, and I've noticed that I'd like people to just be able to be tune in every Tuesday and know that there's something new from me, whether it's an amazing person that I'm interviewing for Hackster.io as part of my pro partner activities, or that I'm going to talk about a bunch of random maker news stuff. So, there's a lot to talk about today. The big news right now, yeah, as of 7 a.m. this morning, although it sounds like it might have leaked early, maybe. So 7 a.m. Pacific was when the announcement was supposedly, but I guess it sounds like maybe something leaked early. Anyway, Arduino announced a bunch of stuff, and I got a link to the article from my friend David Groom, who is on site to hear about this stuff. Go away, little video. We don't need you here. Thank you. And then we're going to go into some other stuff around like recent events and the OSHWA 12-hour membership drive live stream, which was yesterday, last yesterday, also donating, and then some sales from various people. There's an Adafruit sale thing going on, I think, as well as there's some cool stuff around books and places to learn electronics. So lots of cool stuff going on here. Let's check this out first, though. So there's three big announcements today from Arduino. Also, hello. I'm doing all right. How you doing? I had the fabulous idea, the just like galaxy-brained idea to stay up until 5 a.m. for no good reason. Leading to my continued sleep deprivation. But I'm feeling good and I'm gonna take a nap after this. How you doing? Anyway, let's see. So we've got I think it's because I kept thinking like, oh, if I just stay up a couple more hours, then maybe I'll catch the live announcement. And then of course I go to sleep at like 5:30, an hour and a half before the ostensible announcement. Anyway, it seems like David had a bit of an internet interruption in the middle of this that ate part of his updates, but so they have a new Arduino Q. Basically, Arduino got acquired by Qualcomm. They're releasing a new Arduino Q, which is just named, I guess, for the Qualcomm Dragonwing SoC. It looks like there's going to be sort of a co-processor type situation where you've got a 2.0 gigahertz 64-bit quad-core application processor. So a mammoth leap forward from the ART4, which is itself a mammoth leap forward from the previous Atmega 328p versions. So you can run Linux on it. Just like I'm kind of excited about that. This seems like a shot across the bow of Raspberry Pi, honestly. Really interested to see where that goes. I've seen mixed reactions from okay, people seem excited about the new Arduino. So it's also paired with an STM32 U585 microcontroller. So now you can connect a monitor and a keyboard and mouse use the Linux OS interactively. This is incredible. I just set up a Kali Linux box over the weekend. So Kali Linux being a security research focused distribution of Linux, which I haven't actually explored those features, but I've got it set up on a Pi 400 actually, because it's easy to make that run on there. And now there's an Arduino that can run Linux, although specifically Debian, but I'm kind of curious to see if I can put Kali on it. We'll see. You can stick a camera on there. So the AppLab software is a whole new type of software that is an update from the Arduino IDE and makes it easier to run MicroPython, which is very exciting for me. I adore MicroPython. I've been looking to switch stuff out from the earlier versions of Arduino. In fact, something that I mentioned in my chat yesterday for OSHWA on Archimedes 3, Frankenmedes, whose tutorial I released yesterday in an unlisted fashion because I gotta put a bunch more photos on there. Right now there's a bunch of text. I should pull that up actually. But there's not pictures in there, and they really help with understanding what's going on with him. But anyway, I gave some live demos of his new features, which was very exciting. We'll get around to that in a sec. just got some Japanese food. That is amazing. I'm so happy for you. I would love some of that right now, actually. Um, got some study materials as well. We're gonna get into that too. Lots of cool book sale things going on right now. Okay, I managed to hook part of Archimedes over my microphone cable again. That definitely happened in the live stream yesterday as well. So, also you can get a private vacation home in Newport Beach, apparently, according to new Verbo here. Dual brains. We've seen stuff like this before. What am I thinking of? The YouTube board, for example, from the past, definitely had a lot of stuff going on in terms of like coprocessors that are like a Linux brain or Windows compatible even, and then like a microcontroller on board that I think was Arduino compatible. So it isn't the first time that we've seen this, but it is all in an Uno, which is really interesting. They've also got a quick connector on there. It's interesting to see the adoption of Quick versus StemmaQT. I think that a lot of people are going with Quick, which is the SparkFun option, and then StemmaQT is like a related, similar option from Adafruit. So they're both a tiny little I2C connector. Actually, let me just show you. I've got this Arduino Alvic here, which is another part of the update. So this little bot is something that they came out with last year, and it's adorable, and I've been making little 3D printed add-ons for it, and my whole Halloween thing this year is going to be around, well, part of it is going to be around like making little accessories for this guy. But anyway, you can see the little connectors on here. There's some I2C Grove connectors, which are sort of, in my opinion, like when I was getting started in electronics, and around like maybe from like the mid 20 teens. I'm trying not to be too specific because I don't remember what year this came out, but I do remember like definitely around like 2015 they were already established as these little like plug and play I2C module connector systems. So we had I2C Grove, and then a few years later we got Quick from SparkFun, which I think was originally called Feather or something like that. Whisker, because Feather is the... Anyway, so Adafruit has their own one that's, I think, pin compatible mostly. There's some slight differences that I always have to look up, but StemmaQT is the like small I2C plug and play version from Adafruit, which is mostly compatible with SparkFun Quick's system. And then there's a bunch of other ones, like there's actually one from Arduino as well called some name that I can never remember. And then there's like a number of other ones, but those two are big. There's also microelectronic click boards, which have a whole different form factor, but you'll very often see sort of plug and play I2C stuff. Let alone the connectors for PCBs, so SAOs that hook on to regular PCB badges. Arduino App Lab, so they talk about the new software. You can put Python and AI on. I mean, you could already put SoC on there, but they I didn't realize that Qualcomm had also acquired Edge Impulse. Congratulations to them. And so now those are going to be integrated. That's actually, Edge Impulse is actually really powerful for creating your own small offline models, which I am always in favor of running a small tailor-made model offline as much as you can rather than using a giant one, because it's just like, you know, not to no, I'm going to inject my opinion. So in my opinion, using a full model or a large model on an edge device is, or for any application, is usually not what you need. So if you're trying to do informational stuff and like retrieve information, you can do retrieval augmented generation with language models, but often it tends to lie at you and you don't know the difference because you're asking it for the info. Just like asking, oh my gosh, this hair. Just asking like such a thing for things like how many R's are in the word strawberry tends to come out with famously bizarre results and things like that. So for informational purposes, they're not super great. For most other applications, in my opinion, it's like building a humanoid robot to push a button. You know, it's more fragile. It takes tons more energy. It's more complex. There's way more things to debug if something goes wrong in the software. And like, there's so many different joints that you're using to do like what one joint could do. It's just inefficient and it doesn't make sense on any level, in my opinion. It's so much more breakable. Besides all the problems of like, you know, what else, not being able to tell like what it's actually responding to, because these things are obscure boxes and such like. So anyway, um, you could already use. I think that Edge Impulse is a. It's already been you've you've already been able to use it on Arduinos, and I think that it is a solid choice for training and deploying your own tiny model onto an edge device. Qualcomm acquisition, doodly doo. More about that. There seemed to be a fair amount of apprehension in the community about the acquisition, and people feeling that it will lead to them sort of like abandoning the DIY community or not sort of following the DIY community's needs as much, which, considering what we've seen from previous years in terms of like big companies getting infatuated with the maker movement for a few years and then sort of like deciding that it's not immediately profitable in the way that a lot of big corporations sort of require. And then sort of after a few years in the middle of the, again, in the like middle of the 20 teens, but like, you know, around like 2011, there was a huge amount of interest. And for a few years after that, up through maybe like 2016, 2017, a little later. And then afterwards, you know, you stopped seeing these big companies sort of jump on the bandwagon, and a lot of them sort of started jumping off the bandwagon when they realized that like the maker community is largely founded around like the principles of DIY and like making do, and so a lot of it is around like using found materials and like you know, using what you have and like using things in creative ways and hacking stuff, and that a lot of people do it as a hobby and don't necessarily want to make a business out of it. But in a lot of corporations, sort of business model with this stuff has been the idea that like everyone wants secretly to be a small maker business owner and wants to scale forever, which is just not the case for a lot of people. They like want to make for fun, and I've got to get rid of this hair. Sorry. Anyway, so they sort of saw that they weren't getting the kinds of like immediate returns, and that not necessarily everyone wanted to start out using XYZ board for their hobby projects and then bring it into their day job as an engineer and like lead to buying like millions of units for their corporate products. So there definitely have been a lot of success stories, and that's definitely still a valid thing. Like there's just not the sort of deep saturation, I think, of that within the maker community values that they were necessarily expecting to find. And so I think that might be leading to part of the anxiety around this, or the apprehension around just waiting to see what's going to happen with that. And, you know, this kind of happens with various acquisitions. It's not a new thing. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. You can find this on the Make blog, where David Groom is on site. Anyway, I'm interested to check out what this upstream first thing means. I'm going to read through the articles. There's one on the Arduino blog and there's one on the Qualcomm blog. Let's see. Are they going to say upstream first anywhere? No. Also, that's because I misspelled it. Nope. Let's find the full press release here. I'm curious what they mean about that. So in this blog, it I guess means that patches don't pile up for Arduino's new board, but in what way? That seems to be where the internet went out. Very curious. Fanless at 1.2 watts, that's cool. Lots of pics from the release, including the software, very cool. Face recognition, you know, not my favorite thing. But here we go. Debian capable. Yeah, I'm curious to see how like Kali would work on that. I bet I could. But then there's questions around how much it's supported. Okay, so anyway, here is my first steps with Arduino Alvik Robot Kit tutorial, which is from last year, and you can find on hackster.io. As I mentioned, I'm going to be upgrading my Alvik with 3D printed add-ons, and I'm sharing some diagrams and tutorials and templates for doing that. So I've taken the specs of this little connector on the sides of here. So you've got Lego Technic compatible connectors, and you've also got M3, I think, screw connectors here. And so I've been designing some 3D printed bits, but I'm also going to make Lego compatible ones. So I think that this thing would play really well with Lego and Lego add-ons. So I have purchased a little Lego cat model kit, which is like a 3-in-1 thing. And basically for Halloween, I'm going to make this guy look like a little cat riding around on a Roomba that I think is going to like drive around on my shelf ideally, but do some like line following so that it'll just be, cute and make it easy for people to add Lego onto this. This is actually a really sophisticated little device. It's, there's a lot of basic robot kits out there for beginners and stuff. This one in particular has the approachability of something that's designed for beginners, but it also has a ton of smarts and like more than they needed to put on here. Like these wheels, for example, have like a bunch of, they're like DC motors, but they have like position sensing and like you can control them in very precise ways through the API that you wouldn't necessarily expect. This proximity detector on the front not only like detects out in front, but also you've got above and below and like side to side directional sensing in terms of proximity, so that it can actually like in one sensor it could be like, oh, I need to turn left away from this thing, not just that like something's coming up, very smart little device. And so I want to make more things to bring that to into usefulness for the community. I've here's my like Onshape project I've been working on that in. You can see where's the other piece? I don't know why I put this on here sideways. But I'll put this in the tutorial so that people can hack on it themselves. Basically made a little mock-up of the body, which is precise enough for my needs, and I'll be refining that. Like, for example, I've just been adding this top piece so that I can Lego pattern it, and found some really cool Lego stuff online that I might be able to like extrapolate from. There's a great diagram though around like what exactly the measurements are of the Lego studs on a plane. And so I'm going to be using the pattern feature to tile those across the top here. And then I'll be able to like cut out specific shapes. So for example, to expose the Arduino on top and the touch controls here. So this is a Nano ESP32 on here. I think that there's a lot we can do with that as is. And yeah, so Archimedes. Archimedes 3, I released the tutorial unlisted. So if you go to hackster.io/glowascii, then you can scroll down and find that. It's not yet listed in the search engines or anything. But that's got an Uno on it right now. Maybe I'll put a little Linux brain in there. Archimedes has had a Raspberry Pi and an Arduino running in the past. So basically I'd do things like have Fenrir had that actually. So Fenrir had like a Raspberry Pi inside doing like smarts, so like stuff with the camera, and then so like actually facial recognition, that demo that Alessandro Grande did on stage for Arduino. I originally built Fenrir as a demo for the Intel Neural Compute Stick 2 and facial recognition model in there, and used it to basically demonstrate different ways that you can defeat facial recognition algorithms. So things like using a regular veil didn't work, things like covering. You'd be surprised at how small of an area of your face you need to perform facial recognition. But what I found really worked was this scarf that had kind of like a checkerboard pattern on it that was like partially translucent, and it kind of broke up my face into little pixels. And that actually worked surprisingly well. Let me see if I can actually find Fenrir and show you. Without getting super distracted. Here we go. So here's Fenrir 2, the one with the felt outer exterior. And then V1, here is the one with OpenVINO on it. And then where's the oh no. Where's the section where I talk about facial rec? Well, I cannot find it, but it's on one of these tutorials. I'll find it later. So going into other news, we've got a Humble Bundle available for learning electronics. Electronics for the Curious. You can go check that out, and you can support the Electronic Frontier Foundation, who do a lot of work that's really valuable right now. Pardon me, sleeped up. Around digital freedom, digital privacy, and security. Basically, they're defending your right to have control over your data online and to not be tracked everywhere and stuff like that. So they do a ton of good work. They've also got a really good Instagram feed that tells you about, teaches you about different methods of ensuring your digital privacy and security. So I highly recommend that. And if you want to support their work, you can go to the Humble Bundle. Oh no! It's over! I lied! Man, I just looked at this morning and apparently it was still live, so maybe I lied to myself as well. Anyway, sad to see. But at the same time, bookshop.org is having a sale, the anti-Prime sale, so today is Prime Day, I guess. But if you want to support local bookstores and stuff like that, then you can go get them for here. A bunch of cheap ebooks. They sell ebooks as well as regular books. And when you have an account here and you buy something, you can choose a physical bookstore to support, an independent, actual, like, real world bookstore. So part of your purchase will go to support an actual, like, place that people buy books. Super cool. They donate profits directly to bookstores, both funds from direct purchases and from their profit pool that's split between their 2,000 plus stores. That's so cool. So I use this. Oh, you know what? I should also mention Libro.fm. If you're more about audiobooks, I definitely recommend Libro.fm. I love these people. Not only they have a similar model where you can support a local bookstore. You can choose one that's local to your area, or you can just pick one from wherever. And whoo, oh my, I'm not doing that 5 a.m. thing again. That was a mistake. Anyway, so not only do they support independent bookstores, but also they allow you to download DRM-free MP3s of those books. You can just download the audio files with no DRM so that you can put them on as many devices as you like. You can back them up for later. They're never going to be like taken away from you if they're removed from the catalog, which is just spectacular. I have a ton of these. I should put my little referral code up here at some point. But anyway, they're fantastic. They have an incredible selection as well. I've only found like one or two different books that were not available for like under their credits, which usually it's just 1 credit per book, as opposed to other models where you may have to like pay 3 credits or whatever, so that it's just sort of like glorified money. But yeah, so usually it's either 1 credit or sometimes you have to actually buy it with real money, but you also get a big like 30% discount for being a member, which is just incredible. So love audiobooks from Libro.fm. I use the Libby app to listen to tons of audiobooks from my library. Actually, multiple libraries. You can have as many library cards as you want, and I recommend doing that because it helps them get funding. And tons of libraries have really amazing programs these days with things like 3D printers and like tools that you can check out and seed libraries and cool classes and stuff. So Libby is what I use to sort of like check out audiobooks. And then if I want to have one for like longer term, like I know I'm going to come back to it again and again, I'm just re-listening to 2 different series, including the Annihilation series from Jeff Vandermeer, which is a beautiful quadrilogy with just this eerie, haunting, gorgeous, naturalistic splendor. And then also the Rosewater series by Tade Thompson, which is just splendid. It is set in future Nigeria in like the 2060s. But there is, I don't want to get too much into it, but it has a really interesting combination of like alternate realities and incredibly gripping action. Like it's definitely a mature book, but it's like, in my opinion, like I don't deal well with like very nerve-wracking, suspenseful, like painful books. But this series is incredible. They have tons of action and like real stuff and like grown-up themes and things, but at the same time, it's just like a really fun ride, and it's sci-fi, it's fantastic, and then there's all this like weird altered reality stuff that I just like eat up with a spoon. It's fantastic. That's Rosewater by Teddy Thompson and two sequels. Okay, so new topic. Yesterday was the 12-hour show and tell membership drive from OSHWA, the Open Source Hardware Association. So my talk is in around the 9-hour mark. I can't believe Sid and Lee did this. And then they actually did extra time on top of that. So you can see me rapid fire ramble for about 40 minutes about my open source haircut, as well as Archimedes updates. You can get all the live demos there. Also, like some cool stuff I picked up at Maker Faire from my friends. So like, that's not from Maker Faire, but this beautiful SAO mount PCB from Darcy Neal, and then also various other things, including Archie and my PCBs that I rarely show. There's a bunch of other really cool talks though. So Mohib ended up going right after me, and I usually after I do a live stream, I have to kind of like go and lay down for a bit and blob out. But I just couldn't stop watching. Mohib's talk was amazing. He talks a lot about if you're an ethical person, a person who cares about ethics, but you don't want to be left behind, or you think that like it's important to understand about like keep on top of what's going on with AI and stuff, or like to use these tools to increase your productivity and stuff, but in an ethical way. He's got an amazing talk about that, as well as zinester.com, which is a zine template and generator that runs fully in the browser. It runs locally, so it's not sending your data to anywhere in the cloud, anyone's cloud, and it also has non-tracking, so it doesn't track you in any way, so it's very privacy focused, and they have a bunch of cool templates. So he also has this projection mapping tool, which is just, what's that called again? I always forget. But you can find out. Lumen Canvas, yes. And then there was like Blendster talking about curved traces in KiCad. Really cool there. I didn't realize that Blendster used to be a designer. You got Heron Palacios, who's someone that I interviewed for Hackster Cafe a while ago. She is really an amazing person who is part of the Digital Naturalism Conference, which Andy Quitmeyer also spoke earlier about the conference. There's tons of like, oh yeah, Dr. Berry, Dr. Carlotta A. Berry, aka Nora Seminist, shared a whole bunch of different robots. I only caught the end of that, so I'm gonna have to go back and tune in. Anyway, tons of really cool stuff. Chloe Madison talking about open source hardware that she uses to run her Gary Bussy school bus / maker lab. It's just incredible. And then tons of other cool stuff, like a tour of this like microfluidics lab and stuff like that. Just tons of stuff. So if you want to join OSHWA, you can do that, or you can just donate via the piggy bank up here. And if you get your stuff certified in October, it is pumpkin spice certified, and I think that they put a little badge on your certification page, and or I think they said they were going to send people like a pumpkin spice certified badge. So certify your stuff. I definitely got to get on top of that. I'm very excited about it. Besides that, also in YouTube land, Crowd Supply has started releasing the talks from Daretown 2025. So I'm very excited to see some of these come out. There's a bunch that I really wanted to come back to. So like Sander van de Boer talking about running wearable electronics off of supercapacitors, which is something that I definitely want to upskill into. Claire Cassidy talking about laser cutting. There's another one I wanted to check out. Oh, covert regional communication with Meshtastic. Definitely want to watch that one. Daryl has shared his slides online and they're awesome, but I definitely am excited to actually watch the talk, which is only 25 minutes long, and it's just been uploaded about a week ago. So very excited to catch up on that. Then also the sort of keynote speaker, one of the keynote speakers was Cory Doctorow. So lots of, oh, this is an amazing talk I saw about reducing power consumption as low as possible with hardware devices, especially in terms of Joey's sensor watch module. He just has an incredible, he walks you through the whole process, like starting with this application running on this processor and it consumes this much, like walks you through every step that he goes through to take it down further notches in terms of power consumption again and again and again. I thought I could show both my face and the video. There we go. Um, and then we've got Carrie Sundra, which I did see as well. The woes of putting a battery in it, which is a lot of stuff around like complying with regulations, what the regulations are, and then the pros and cons of the different battery types that you can use, and why you would choose each type. The trade-offs in terms of both regulations as well as like energy density and stuff like that. Really fascinating. And then of course there's a bunch of like little individual versions of their summary video, which is cute with for their different sponsors. But anyway, Adafruit is also talking about their Halloween stuff. Ah, they got an owl. Love it. I think they had something about this on their main page somewhere. As you can see, a little apprehension about the Arduino acquisition. But they've got this whole list of different projects and the tech that they are centered around. I didn't know there was an RP2040 prop maker. So our Archimedes has a an audio module in there, and oh, I thought there we go. And I've thought before about using a prop maker for to control his servos and speakers and lights and stuff. However, I think that I like the method that I have right now with the Arduino, but I've thought about upgrading to a MicroPython or CircuitPython board. What I like about this is that it will fit on my companion core, I think. We shall see. But also I might just run it off of an Arduino Nano 33 BLE Sense, which has a bunch of integrated sensors as well. Really cool. Pardon me. We've also got the Adafruit Halloween M0 Express, which is available, unlike the Monster Mask, which unfortunately tends to sell out. So I started checking this like a month ago, and indeed their like Monster Mask Dual Eye Kit understandably sold out really early this year, and I haven't seen it come back on yet. So you get two of these little screens, and they're attached together, and it's for $45. So sort of like 25% off if you're going to get two Hallowings for the eyes. But alas, but you can sign up for updates when they do restock. Anyway, they got a bunch of these projects up and the different various stuff that you would use to build them. So let's just have a quick look at some of these. I gotta check this out. What's going on with this fluorescent yellow pigment? I'm not sure. Does it glow in the dark? I don't know. I gotta look. A sewable USB Type-C power jack connector. This is one that I had not heard of before, but that's kind of sweet. I can definitely see ways that this would be useful. The micro USB one I think might be even more useful for my particular uses. So I use a lot of USB power banks, and so having like a USB-A to micro USB cable is often what I use to like route the power to my devices. And so something sewable like this, very useful. Although, a USB-A to C cable wouldn't be a bad idea in the future. I don't know that it's necessarily as necessary. Also with these, you've got to be careful because if you're just doing USB-C to C, apparently, since there's not as stringent of like regulations around which way the power goes, USB-C to C cables can get confused about like who's charging off of whom. And so like there's some products where specifically you're supposed to use it with a USB-A to C cable so that it's just like very clear to the system like which direction the power is flowing. And that's something that I didn't have to deal with until very recently. I forget what project it was, but I did get bitten by that. It was my Meshtastic Heltec V3 device. So you got to charge those off of a USB-C to C cable, or A to C cable, so that like it will actually charge properly. So something to be aware of. It has to do with just like the charge protocol situation, USB protocol stuff. Oh yeah, this is the second time I've thought about building something and I was like, oh man, Adafruit people already did it, but that's okay. I've been thinking about making a grimoire, and I kind of wanted to put an eye on it, but I also, it's a very cool project. I mean, I still could. I'd put my own spin on it for sure. Another time, I was gonna make my own version of Fizzgig from the dark crystal, and I still might actually, because mine was gonna be black, just like Fizzgig inspired, but like black and fluffy and like short haired and stuff. And I was looking up the monster mask to grab one for it, and then I was like, oh man, this example project for the monster mask is in fact a Fizzgig. Ah well. But just because someone else has done it, does not mean you can't put your own spin on it, and I certainly may in the future. Also from Adafruit are these NeoPixel quarter 60 rings. So, oh, I got my brain messed up yesterday when I was talking about this. So anyway, this ring comes in 4 sections. You buy one section for $10, which is a quarter of the circle, and it turns out that these fit perfectly underneath Archimedes' wings. So I'm going to show you that real quick. I should just plug the lights in and show you. Come here. I haven't got his like actual nice battery pack holder situation set up right now, so I'll just plug these in. Hopefully it won't kill the computer. Okay, cool. So underneath his wings in the new version, I've got these, and they just fit perfectly under his little wing arches, and it makes me so happy. So I wanted to point those out real quick. Show the screen. There we go. All right, so, and again, I walked through all the new updates to Archimedes in the tutorial, which I have closed for some reason. But if you go to hackster.io/glowaski, oh, I didn't realize that this logo SAO was my 150th project published. Cool. Anyway, so you can find the new updates there. I just need to add some pictures and then I'll publish it fully. Here's my old website, which I mentioned really quick in the stream, including my old hair FAQ. I love the look of this website, but functionally it's a lot easier to update my current one on Notion, so that's what I do. It's on. So this is alexglow.com, but then if you go to alexglow.notion.sites, you can scroll all the way down to the bottom and find my new hair FAQ. If you want to like know how I do this stuff and like adopt it for your own nefarious purposes, I fully support nefarious hair. Then we've got a new live shows and events page talking about stuff coming up. I gotta move this down to the bottom, but you can see upcoming stuff I'm going to be doing, as well as an overview of each of the shows that I do. So Hackster Cafe, Dayglow, Hack O'Clock, and Space Song Sunday. Also, I found this other cool thing on Mastodon, which is Tune Tuesday. Real excited about tuning in for that. So people just post either music that they've made or stuff that they're excited about. And I think they have like prompt themes every week, maybe. But so through this, I found out about Jamulus. This is a massive problem people have been trying to address. I didn't realize that this existed. An actual low latency music collaboration platform where you can like live jam with people over the internet. This is a massive problem that I thought we were still trying to solve, where the latency prevents you from actually being able to functionally play live together with other musicians, because there's always like just enough delay that you can't actually play in sync. So I gotta try this out with some friends, because being able to play live with people online would like just massively up my game. Hey, we got more people. What's up? Paul of TNC, good to see you. Dre, woo! How's it going? Sorry for punching you in the face that one time. I believe this is the same person, because you got that VR headset on. I was wearing a VR headset. Dre was demonstrating like a fighting game, and I managed to accidentally, as I say, punch you in the face. I'm so sorry about that. It was hilarious though. And we got it on video. I put it up somewhere. I have to find that and dig it up. How am I doing? I have sleep deprived myself because I kept, for some reason, I think it's because of this new Arduino announcement that was going live at 7 a.m. And so, like, my brain kept being like, if we just stay up a little bit longer, then we can catch it live. And then, of course, I ended up, like, crashing out at 5:30 in the morning. So I'm kind of sleepy, but I'm also happy about new Archimedes updates and getting out of burnout and stuff. So that's huge. Yeah, anyway, so that's pretty much what I've got for y'all on this. Also, how are you doing? It was a long time ago, so it looks like you're still doing VR stuff, which is cool. I am on TikTok. Let's go back to my Notion page and I'll show you. It's the same username that I use in many places, this Glowascii, ASCII. But then if you go to my website, there is I do not have TikTok on there. That's odd. Well, anyway, let's go to TikTok.com/ I think you gotta put like an @ in there for this to work. Yes. Okay. So we're on there. Go away. Go away. Go away. Go away. Got a bunch of stuff. I have not been super rigorous about updating with new stuff that I put on like reels on Instagram and stuff, but you can see my open source reel from this year. And then a bunch of other random stuff. This is going to be getting built out more as I expand my indie empire, as it were. Going independent from so I'm still working with Hacksters, still happily doing videos with them. I adore it, and making more tutorials coming out soon. But yeah, but I'm now independent, and it's awesome because I got into a rut with spending way too much time editing video, which my brain is horrible at and I hate, and not enough time like actually doing like the making of stuff. And so now I'm extremely part-time for now. I'm going to be doing more work around privacy and personal digital security, as well as stuff with other companies like Maybe I Fix It. We shall see. So very excited to be doing stuff like that and taking a little a downtime-ish while being sort of part-time and independent and building my own stuff out like TikTok and my own YouTube channel, which has been severely neglected over the past 10 years. I had one, but I never really put stuff on it. Very, very occasionally. And as you can see, if you are on there right now. And so I'm going to be publishing more on my own channels. I don't know why I'm like just waving Archimedes around. I just think he's neat. He makes me so happy. One thing I've been doing over the last couple of months is just like rebuilding and reanimating things. Like Archimedes and Fenrir were dead for multiple years because my brain was dead, and they slowly broke each part of them. So Fenrir, it turns out some of the servos are dead in a way that like if I try to detach them, it will be sort of fundamentally destabilizing to his like whole situation, because he's originally prototyped in cardboard, and to make the new version I mostly applied a 3mm felt outer layer to his cardboard chassis, and then I also made like completely new little leggies and ears that are just felt, but some of the structural elements with the cardboard underneath are going to be really hard to upgrade and like replace servos on without destroying him. So he's just like going to be sort of shelf material. I'm going to see if I can at least get his little like, head and ears to move around a little bit. But pardon me. Anyway, but Archimedes, I sort of like made this Frankenmedes version that I've just been talking about with upgrades and stuff. So, all right, so that is today's update. As I mentioned before, I'm going to be doing these sort of opposite Hackster Cafe. So any week there's not a Hackster Cafe interview, there's going to be one of these, so that you always know there's going to be something new to look at on a Tuesday around 10:30 a.m.-ish Pacific. And yeah, thanks for checking it out. Thanks for joining me. So cool to see people that like Jay that we haven't chatted in a long time, but it's really cool to see you again. And anyway, thanks everybody for joining, and I'll catch you soon. Hack on.